Good evening. Welcome to Berardi and Coke for the Blackburn game. My iron has been used to sort out the issues, Steve Brown. Yes, if we go up, I might give the iron away. I might sign it and everything. We'll see. But we're here to talk about that game, we'll say, from yesterday. I'm joined by special guests tonight. The comment cretin Bryn, as some people might call him, normally disrupting the chat, and the miser of Murfield, Danny from Nell.
Yeah, did you just dox me?
Absolutely
you just
not,
me.
Mate. Absolutely not. You're a distinctive man. You're easy to find.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm just going to run us a little intro, and then we'll get into this properly when I can find the damn thing.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Orta No Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leeds are shit. We're recording, you know.
Oh, shit.
We had a good start. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things. That's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this.
So what did you think about that, Danny?
It depends what you're talking about.
I just saw you on your phone there being a bit distracted, mate. That's normally what we do on this pod now, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you notice I put it down?
I did, mate. I did. I'll let you off in this case. I thought you were going to give us one of your little witty one-liners, but you gave me nothing. I was left to fill the void myself.
All right, sorry. Well, if you do it again, run the intro again. I'll do it. After.
Mate, I've got no mouse here, and I'm struggling as is. I'm not doing the bloody intro again. It'll be a nightmare.
Well, it works.
Well, it works to a degree. But we all went to the game, didn't we? So I mean, I don't know what you guys thought overall, but I came away quite annoyed by the whole affair. I felt like it were a big opportunity missed. On reflection, I'm a bit calmer, as I usually am, to be fair. And it's 7 from 9, including 2 away games, and we are normally shite at Christmas. So, it's a bonus in that sort of sense, I think. Danny, what do you reckon?
Yeah, like you say, 7 from 9. It's 28 from 30 at home. It's, I did come away from that game thinking, like you say, another big opportunity missed. But I don't think Blackburn came to play, to be honest. The stats show that. But yeah, it were hard going, very hard going for me. But like you say, on reflection, mate, I suppose a point's better than none. And as results went, we were talking, weren't we, Bryn Peacock, saying like what would be best for us. And in the end, Sunderland won, which knocked points off Sheffield, and it was still 3 points clear. So all in all, it's not a total disaster, is it?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, really. Sunderland, to be honest, deserved the win. They were point. Again, it's another point clear of Sheffield United, who sadly just seem to normally grind games out, but for the last couple have not. So, and then another blaming, Wilder's got all the violin out, blaming injuries, but he's still got remnants of his Premier League squad with a couple more. So they should just crack on them. But that's Sheffield. But sadly, Leeds, it was typical Leeds versus John Eustace football, 4th game. Now we had to win against him, and it's just
struggled, don't we, against him?
I don't know. I think it's just they have got the art of shithousery as well. Like they just know when to foul, how to foul, and constantly just keep the referee on his whistle all the time. I know a lot of people criticise the ref, but some of our players don't buy into it. Like a couple of tackles James made on the fullback and the left centre half when he's up in the air and he just bodies him when he's on his way down. It's just needless free kicks. And I know obviously with the pressure, the high intensity we want to play with, we do need that level of aggression, but we are overly aggressive against this team and it just didn't work again, unfortunately.
No, I mean, it was frustrating for the most part for me because I didn't feel like we played particularly badly. There were a lot of nice little moves, but it were like there were no end product. The final balls just were not finding anybody. There weren't enough attempts on goal for me. I don't think we took enough shots. Rothwell was quiet as hell, and I think him having a poor game probably has shown how important he has been at times in that side, because we seem to have a bit less of an attacking impetus at times. Like people didn't seem to want to have a go, and you just need that sometimes in a game like that. I don't know what you think, Danny, but for me, I felt we needed to have more shots, not more attacks.
It felt like throughout the entire 100 fucking 7.
You can say that on here, mate. There's only one word you can't say, don't worry.
Yeah. And I think we only had like 3 or 4 shots. I can only remember that one shot right at the end from was it Vober? We made the keeper knock it over the bar.
Yeah, on
the
yeah. I think the only time I can remember breaking through in the first half was when Pirro played it through to Dan James, and there were no one there in the middle. When personally, I think he should have just rifled it at the keeper, because that keeper were shaky in the first half. If Peru had kept on running at his angle, then he may, when he slipped, he might have even got there. But if it's okay, can I just throw a stat in here? This is from LUFC.
Oh, we love a bit of that on here because it's like a novelty, any kind of factual data.
So the referee, right, played a total of 106.5 minutes, and the ball was only in play for 54 minutes.
I would have guessed around that.
Jesus.
Yeah, because there were 95 stoppages in the game. And the longest sequence of play was 1 minute and 56 seconds.
That's insane.
That shows to me what Blackburn came and did. Shithouses. And they did, you know what I mean?
Did they take the time wasting shithouse crown from Wolves then?
It must be, because it's like half of the game was spent with the ball out of play. That's mad. Yeah. Or it's stoppages. Awful. It's crazy, mate. Awful. And I just feel like I don't agree with. I think I saw a comment, might have been Dr. Cox, saying that Farker doesn't have a clue against lesser teams. I think that's particularly true 100%. I just feel like the only way to beat, we've spoke about it loads of times. How do you beat a low block? You have to pass and move quick, create them gaps, and we saw that with Perot and Dan James. And you saw it a few times where we resorted to hoofing it over the top once or twice to get Dan James in behind. Yeah. But their left back he was great, to be honest. Was it Bryn?
Beck, Beck. I love from Liverpool. He just had him pocketed again. Had him pocketed at Ewood Park, and unfortunately, when Jamie is having an off day and he can never beat his man on the outside, he comes back on his left foot, and then he's either looking to feather it to the back post, and he's either aiming for Solomon or Peru or Ramazani or even potentially Nonto. I mean, I can't remember last time any of these lads scored a headed goal apart from Peru's free header against Sunderland. We're not known as a heading team. So again, I don't understand though when you've got someone like Bogle or I know we lost him early in the second half, but we never looked to overlap ever. Ampadu at right back. Again, he's one of probably the differences why we have had the 2 wins over the Christmas period compared to when we normally flop a bit. But I think Ampadu does make a difference in the centre of the park, having him at the right back, the right centre half in the back, and when sometimes in transition went into 3. It worked to a degree, but again, Dan James had no change out of Beck all game, and a lot of people put in the comments, my mind would blow when he took Manuel Solomon off. I just could not possibly get my head around it.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. It just didn't make any sense, did it? Because Solomon was all over him. Everything good that was happening in the first half was going through Solomon. And he was not always finding the mark with the crosses, but he was at least getting into the positions and making crosses. He was putting balls in the box. And he looked lively again. He looks like he's getting better and better for me, Danny.
He is, mate. And you see in that Premier League pedigree, you can see why Spurs have paid that money for him. It's just unfortunate that for him that he's been injured. He's dropped. The whole reason why he's with us is because he's been injured for, I think it was an ACL and a PCL, I think at some point. But and you can see that pedigree starting to come through now. He's getting minutes and he's starting, and people are like talking about him starting. And for me, he was just unlucky because I said it yesterday, didn't I? Like, he was receiving the ball with his back to goal, and he's had to turn. If he takes some of them balls on the stride, I think he gets around his man and he puts it in. But to say that he took the ball with facing the opposite way, then managed to turn, and then eventually get a cross in, which was dealt with by defence in the end. But I think Solomon is that. I think he starts for me personally. I think he's the one that's showing it. Ramazani against Derby, bit rust. I think I put that down to rust. Do you know what I mean? So at the minute, Solomon's the man. Talking about the substitution as well, it blew my mind seeing him go off. He's seen it himself where he's got his hands up like, "What are you taking me off for?" Because he was the only bright spark in that team yesterday. And seeing Bamford come on, I'll be forever grateful to Bamford for what his service and stuff. But I think it did nothing for me. I
don't want to see him.
Yeah, and I don't want to
jump ahead either.
I don't want to jump ahead, but what's he got against Schmidt? Why is he bringing Ampadu on up right back? I mean, I know Ampadu gives us a lot more stability, but for me, if you're going to bring Ampadu on, put him in centre so he can ping diags. The amount of times that Solomon and then I forget, were it Nonto on the left? Voba, he were all the way up the other end of the pitch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Rodon can't do it, and Stoik can't do a Ampadu diag. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Great pass that he does for me.
That's why I like him.
It were crying out for that. You could see Voba just on the touchline saying, pass it to me. But sorry, go on.
I'm starting to think that Farke has decided, we need a new Stuart Dallas, so he's like forcing Ampadu to become a utensil player, as started calling, and turn him into like Mr. Versatile. But it just kind of fills me with dread seeing him come on at right back because it's not his position. We do want him in the middle because that's where he's effective. I mean, I don't know about you, Bryn, but I feel it takes a fair bit of his game away if he's put out there.
He's the best holding midfielder we've got. And I know we've done well with Howe and Rothwell in the period he's been out, but ultimately he's the captain. We had a bit of more of a presence at Derby. The fluency, again, I'll put that down to another person as well, but I'm like a broken record mentioning the situation, so I won't go into that. But Ampadu now, for me, is the way we need to be going. I know I can't fault Rothwell at all until probably it was his worst game against Blackburn. Again, maybe former captain against his former club, maybe that's played into his mind a bit. But, sadly, that was just one of those days. But, again, Danny touched on it there with Isaac Schmidt. I mean, if you want to overlap, you've got a guy that's played in the Europa League conference, scored a screamer before we signed him. He's right-footed, he's quick. Farke obviously sees him as a winger. So why not try and overload Beck with James and Schmidt on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
But again, it just wasn't to be. Again, sometimes Farke, I don't know if he's almost robotic in his change where it has to be almost like for like. Again, I know it was a bit different with the injury to Bogle was obviously not ideal after you've just taken Byram off at half time for Voba. But unfortunately, again, as good as Byram is at right back, it just fills me with dread every time he goes forward on the left hand side. It's just you might as well just know the right winger might as well just say, oh well, I'll wait till he puts it back on his right foot and then I'll take the ball off him because it's just so scripted.
I know what you mean, but I don't think he does a bad job of it.
I think defensively he's fine, but I think ultimately, again, it's almost like when we used to have Andy Hughes out there. Again, he's like square peg round hole. I know he's at the end of the day, he's from our academy. And I'll never forget Sam Byram's debut season being the right back that could bomb on and score goals, put some good balls in. And when he's played right back this season, he's done that. But he's probably the most one-footed player we've got in the entire team.
It's a shame because he's a good crosser of the ball, is Byram as well. He can pick people out in the box when he's on the right. So we do lose that, but he's not obviously as good as Bogle, is he, going forward? Bogle's a much more dynamic fullback.
And Bogle's been getting a lot of grief lately, and I don't see why. For me, he's been one of one of the first names on the team sheet. But going to about Byram yesterday, I think my overall, he's a good sub player for me. Is Byram? You can't play him 3 times in 8 days or whatever it's been, because he's at that age now, isn't he? He'll have injuries and stuff. But for me, sometimes he can be too negative. He won't want to. There were numerous times yesterday where he had it down the left-hand side and he had to, like Bryn just touched on it, he had to just put it on his right, and then he played it back to strike, and then we recycled again, and then that opportunity is gone.
Yeah,
sometimes it's just a case of just get it in the box.
Yeah,
I know it's not as simple as that for some people, like from a tactical perspective, but you don't know what's going to happen. It could ricochet if anything,
well,
and
that's it. Yeah.
That's what winds me up when they cut back, and there were a moment in the first half where we had him on the run, and we got him behind him. But then instead of trusting himself and backing himself, going around the back of the defender or just zipping it in with pace because it comes off with anything, we stopped and turned back. And then by the time we've looked up, they were all back in the thing. Credit to Blackburn because they were a good defensive unit yesterday. They doubled up on Dan James and Solomon. And it's testament to Solomon as well that he actually got some crosses off with his left. Is it left footed or is it right footed?
Right footed.
Solomon, right footed, I think.
To say he got some of the crosses off with his left foot yesterday in the first half was great to me. And I think, for him to be took off is, I think Farker deserves 10 lashes, to be honest with you.
Did you stay after the game to tell him that when he were going around pitch clapping supporters? Standing there going,
I wrote it down.
You fucking idiot.
I wrote it down in German because I don't want to be offensive. I did it in his native tongue. Strapped it to a brick and threw it through his car window. So
that's a
I
reasonable
said,
response.
Love from J. OKB.
Cheers for that, mate. I'll expect all you send it anytime.
Yeah.
It makes some strange decisions as Farker. It's people go to extremes like with the old Farker out stuff, and when you're top of the league, you can't really be saying that, can you? But there's a lot of stuff for me that I feel like you should question as fans. Like you don't have to like everything the manager does to not want him out. You can still be critical of things for me and not be saying that. Do you know what I mean? But some people on this podcast will let you say things like that.
Jay, Christ, do not go on Leeds Facebook after.
I've seen it, Bryn.
It's constantly fish, or where's the Farke out, boys? Because we won a game, or people lose their minds when we lose one game or drop some points. And don't get me wrong, after the Blackburn away game, I was having a massive case of deja vu from last season, where we're just dropping points against sides who play a certain way and play with like a greater defensive intensity, seemed more up for the 50-50 battles. Again, I know it just felt odd yesterday that we didn't seem to win the 50-50s as much. Again, I don't know if that was pure luck or desire or something. But again, as fans, we just want 11 players to go out and give 100% every game. Yeah. And if we get beaten by the better side or a bit of luck, like the Burnley gone, it was a mistake from Solomon. But a slip's a slip. These things happen in football, but to be so passive, like we have been in so many games this season away from home, especially, is just quite frustrating. And
it is.
Definitely. I was hoped with the Derby and the Stoke game, just maybe, he's cracked this. But I thought, well, Blackburn, Eustace has got the wood over Fark. It's kind of, the Birmingham game back in the day was a bit different. The club was in turmoil. Nonto had his transfer request. We had Jamie Shack playing right wing. It was an absolute shit show. But since he's been the Blackburn manager, when Smodics, again, it was just identical to the Blackburn game last season. Perhaps the only difference was Smodics got the goal instead of the centre half from a corner, which, I don't know if you've seen the goal back, but I think we had 6 men stood on the 6-yard line, marking nobody, like in a zonal system, just watching for the ball. And I think Nonto was on the striker who came from the bench. And again, Nonto been your height, Jay, 5'3", 5 whatever.
Stood on the yellow pages.
I just don't fancy him against the 6'2". I think he was called Gay or something like that, who came on, headed it back into the mix, and then like conceding corners and set pieces, even though we have marginally improved on corners, however, then that happened. So
I didn't realise
it took a bit of a shine off.
I didn't realise it was the 90th minute they scored. I didn't realise. Just time seemed to slow down. Yeah. Well, that's
very
strange. The game. It was
100%.
It was crazy, mate. The striker did really well to get it back in. I'll be honest, because I was like literally in the east stand up over looking at the the line of the goal, And I thought, oh, it's gone past Millier, and Millier were doing his thing, his thing, his miming, and then it came back across, and it were who was it? I think it might have been Strike on the goal line, and he were blocking Millier unintentionally because he had a defender in front of him or attacker in front of him, and Millier's doing this like behind him, like trying to get past, and it's like, and then someone knocks it into the pass
break through glass window.
Yeah, you know what I mean, like. Yeah. And it's just terrible to concede at that point as well. And I knew then we'd blown it. I mean, it took enough to get the penalty. Do you know what I mean? But just touching on the Farker out thing, I think we could be 10 points clear and people would still want Farker out. People are saying, I saw a comment earlier, I can't remember who put it, but it says Farker's not good enough for a Premier League. We're not in the Premier League yet. Yeah, you know what I mean? We're in the Championship.
We can cross that bridge then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is what we need to think. But end of the day, we just have to take in that we're 3 points clear, at top of the league, and we just build on that. Do you know what I mean? We didn't lose. We were already ahead on last season's points tally. If we continue this sort of rate, and recreate the points we've picked up, we'll go up. It's no problem. You know what I mean?
April at this rate, Danny, won't we?
Exactly, mate. Exactly, yeah. Just get your cigars out, Yeah.
Get champagne on ice,
Exactly. But I'm not saying that anyone's opinion is wrong. I'm just saying like we'll deal with that bridge when when we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, as I say, I question a lot of what he does. I'm not 100% convinced by him, but I don't think you can call for him to be removed from the top of the league.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not saying that Farker isn't above criticism. Everybody isn't above criticism. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, one week a certain player's our favourite, the next week you'd be slagging him off because he's missed that crucial shot, and but it is what it is. I just want to make that clear before I start getting bricks in German through my window.
Absolutely. Scooby is saying usually everybody blames Meslier for everything and anything. I've got to say, mate, we tend to win games where Meslier doesn't have to face many shots.
That's true.
When he does, we tend to concede. He makes some great saves at times, like the first minute against Stoke, stuff like that. He's got that in his locker, but then he'll do something stupid if he gets.
I don't think he had a save to make off that, did it? Then again, it was that foggy, Jay. I don't think we could really see, but I don't think he had to do anything. I don't think he had to do anything, did he? Apart from the ball hit him, but he's made himself naturally big. But again, him going forward. So I know we've had Divot Gate up at Sunderland. I mean, I'm just don't think about that. I've tried to move on to the best.
That upset me a lot. It upset me a lot.
Yeah, look, just that was.
I was looking for an air rifle on Facebook Marketplace after that.
I've got a Millier voodoo cushion full of BB pellets. If you want to borrow that,
you're not meant to have sex with it, though, Danny.
Here's an hypothetical for you. If we were to go up, how many of the current first team would you have starting the first game of the Premier League? If say we had 100, 200 million to spend.
Ooh, how much of the first team? That's a good one.
Say you have the first 11, not including
none of the strikers.
No, God. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Joseph is bench, maybe loan.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on, because you can't. Well, you can, but it depends on the policy. I'm getting technical here. No, I mean, if I were to, if I had a Premier League team and then you went out and got transfers, I'd probably have Ampadu. DJ would probably be an impact sub for me / starting.
We're looking for a
maybe
left back,
Voba, Rodon. Because I think strike. Yeah, I don't know. There's no right answer, but I'd say about 3-4 to answer your question, Bryn. Off the top of my head, do you know what I mean? Patrick Bamford, number 9.
I do feel like possibly more pace would be needed in central defence if we went up.
Oh God! Well, Rodon's the only one with
strike.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That then puts Ampadu into
the problem with strike. The problem with strike, I think he'd get rinsed in the Premier League because the Championship's it's more physical when it comes to strikers. When it comes to strikers in the Premier League, they're quicker, agile, and we see how fast he gets turned with that Osmajic from Preston. And he's been guilty of that a few times this season where he's gone in holding the player. Yeah, holding the player and he's tried to get a foot round the, he's shoved his leg round and he's been on the worst end for it, so that worries me. But
he's just trying.
I think you've got a point there, Bryn. I think if we did go up, I'd want to at least 7, do a Forest if needs be. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
and just sort of ride it out for a few seasons. What about you,
whatever
Bryn?
we do,
I think we need 10
before
players.
you go, Bryn, before you go, whatever we do, we should just break the fucking rules like everyone else has done and get what we want.
Yeah, well, Leicester. I think. Well, if Leicester do somehow stay up, the Premier League are already got them on some sort of watch list. And FA and EFL, sorry, have already pretty much said, "Oh, we're going to absolutely hammer you if you come down." So they're on the watch list. So be curious. But then again, you look at clubs like Wolves. I think have got like the 7th richest owners in world football, and look where they are. They've never really spent the. I know they've obviously got people like Cunha that spent a bit of money on, but the amount of Premier League revenue rolling through the club every year. Again, we've just got to box clever. Yeah. Unfortunately, but then again, I suppose where we box, what Bielsa, well, it goes kind of go back to Bielsa overachieving what he had, and then we reward all the people that got us there, which set us back, sadly. And then when we went down, I think the year we went relegated, we had the 12th highest wage budget in the league.
Yeah.
And we finished 19th, was it? So we can't have that again. So yeah, we need to box clever, but hopefully 49ers, with the Red Bull worldwide scouting market. We've got a club in South America, Europe, everywhere. There'll be networks all around. So fingers crossed. We've got some.
Don't get started on South American Red Bull club because you'll have Gilly frothing because they absolutely screwed them, didn't they? And told everybody they wouldn't change the club into anything and then change it next year.
I can't wait. I can't wait to be Yorkshire Red Bull. I can't wait, mate. It's going to be great. Like this opens up, like with the Red Bull thing, right? I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but it opens up so many doors. If we go up with this, like, sort of backing of Red Bull and the 49ers with certain money, like Bryn said, we've got that scouting network, which we didn't have with Rads. We had Victor Orta. I mean, every once in a while they get a gem. He did pick. Like you got your Gvardiols. Everyone thought Rodrigo was going to be. Gvardiol didn't come in the end, but
and they got Rafinha.
He did get some gins. Yeah, Rafinha. But that was late on in the transfer window.
Yeah, and they didn't want to pay for Gyökeres because he thought he wasn't worth it.
12 million quid, and he's now the hottest striker in Europe. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy stuff. But I didn't say I wanted Voba. By the way, I said maybe Voba if push comes to shove. I just want to make that clear. But yeah, I think it's a different sort of paradigm mentality when we go up this time. The biggest thing that went against us is that we finished. We did so well with a team that we sort of barely added to. I think it was just Rodrigo and Firpo? We got that.
Well, we got Koch, Llorente, Rocker.
Right.
We added a few.
No, sorry, we're at the season after we got Firpo and Dan James.
Yeah, that was the year after COVID. Yeah, we got just those two when he also wanted
that was the one that did for us, wasn't it?
That's the one that sealed his fate for me because I think it was a bit of arrogance and ego on their part. Oh well, we don't have to spend. Let's tighten the purse strings and obviously the rest is history. I don't think that'll happen this time. They
clearly didn't care about progressing forward from where we were. No. They thought we've overachieved.
I think Rad's had the ceiling, didn't he? Rad's had the ceiling.
We'll be all right next year.
Yeah,
it's impossible to get relegated. Remember?
Yeah. What an idiot!
What a fucking thing to say.
Well, you just look at what he's gone since selling Leeds. He's bought a Serie B club, which says his level of money is nothing in the grand scheme when it comes to, even like the lads at Como now who've just, I think they're like 18th in, maybe 17th in Serie A. I think we've got Fabregas as manager. They've got billionaire owners now, and he's nowhere near a club the size of them. Never mind, Sampdoria, they're in mid-table Serie B or wherever they are.
He wants to buy a club and get a few people in with him, get it promoted and cash in. That's his model. That's what he did with us.
Even the Sampdoria ultras were wanting him out after a year. And when the ultras talk, you listen. Do you know what I mean? Like
you do over there,
especially over there.
They'll tell us about your house in Italy.
Yeah, they'll throw bricks with Italian letters.
I can't wait to see Gilly go down Red Bull headquarters, though. That's
It'd be like that fella. Do you remember the Newcastle fans? That guy who went all the way down to London to stand outside the Premier League building and shout at it a few times. Hey, you're corrupt. You're bent. That'll be Gilly outside Red Bull.
They're all looking down at him with a beer out. They're going, "Who's that idiot down
there?" But yeah, I mean, going back to us, I think, if we do get there, I think, as you say, we will invest heavily this time. I don't think that these guys will make the same mistakes. They want to make money here, but they also want to build a big Premier League club that they can sell.
It's all about
billions one day.
It's all about weathering the storm if and when we go up, because the gulf between all three promoter clubs are in the relegation, or they were before this week, and that says a lot. Southampton, they've spent Ipswich have done some good Championship business, in my opinion. You Jack Clark's and you Rory Delap's doing well. And then you've got Leicester as well, who've added to their stock. But we just need to weather the storm. I don't care. If we go up, we get a team, build around that, and then just don't aim for Europe just yet. But anyway, that's
we
all.
We get carried away, don't we? That's what we like as fans. It's what you want to see.
It's my fault. I chat a lot of excrement. Sorry.
Hey, it's all good on here. We do that all the time. Going back to the game, I forgot what I was going to say. Joseph, when he got taken out and Bamford picked up the ball for the penalty, did that thing again where he likes to wind us all up. And I heard 36,000 people groan, I think.
I'm not going to lie, I was mid-Bielsa squat with my large hood I've got over my face thinking, please, God, no. My dad tapped me on the shoulder and said, he's passed it to Strauch. And I thought, oh, Christ, he side-foot someone all, doesn't he?
He took a great penalty.
He did. I think he missed his previous one to that, but I can't remember who that was against. But to be fair to Strauch, tucked it away, and there we go. But yeah, second, I think you can see from comments that second Bamford came on pitch, it was like, oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah. I was just like, oh great, we've given up.
Yeah,
it just feels to me like he no longer contributes anything. Just runs.
Mate, it's January 1st. He might be proving. Farker might be saying, you know what? Prove to the world you've got working legs, and here's Rex and whoever it is. Bamford.
Just go where you want.
Yeah. Well, the worrying thing is, if we can't offload him now, we get promoted. He gets an extra 20% boost on his existing massive contract, and then he's definitely not going anywhere for another year. So he
keeps looking out of his window of his mansion, Bamford Towers. He's like, why is there a taxi at my gate? It won't go away. It's just sat with engine running, waiting for him. Take him anywhere.
Get the riot gun.
After his quail.
I'm very grateful for what he has done for us in the past, but the time has passed for me, and we need to be looking forward, not back. And it's just not doing us any favors bringing him on. I feel like Farker wants to keep him involved, probably to keep his spirits up a bit and keep the morale in the squad and all that. But he's not bringing anything to the games for me when he comes on. He's not
especially when you're chasing the game. Especially when you're chasing the game, trying to get a winner, and you bring on Bamford, who likes to hold it up, and he causes, he'll draw the centre backs out. But you bring Ramazani on for me because he's quick. You know what I mean? And he can turn on a 50 pence piece for me. He's so good at turning and just playing the ball out. He even loves a shot from outside the box, which we didn't do yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's all it takes. Look what happened at Watford. Ramazani took a shot and it went in because the keeper flapped at it. Do you know what I mean?
And that's it. You have to create.
That's what it needed.
Sometimes.
That's all it needed. Look at their goal yesterday. It was just a ricochet that landed to their defender, and he put it in the bottom corner. I thought he was going to miss, to be honest, because there were that many people on the line. But
I made some notes about that because I felt Meslier were manhandled a bit in the build-up. When the corner was about to be taken, one of their players was all over him. The ref did not care, and they were like at him like this, and they couldn't get round him. And it takes me back to the ref, who I thought were absolutely shocking. I thought he were terrible, possibly the worst that I've seen at Elland Road. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it seemed like he missed a bunch of handballs. He missed a bunch of shirts being pulled. I was shocked he gave the penalty, which, I figured at the time meant he had no choice. And also their keeper wearing the same colour kit as the officials was a strange one. But I just thought the guy was useless, Bryn. I don't know what you thought of him. He just seemed to want to give them stuff constantly. And he did very little to help us out.
You do seem to give refs, for whatever reason, they give a decision to one side. They feel like they have to balance it out so it looks better on their statistics, their match report. I'm not too sure, but I do think at the same time we did kind of buy into this, though, where we give just we give the referee decisions to make when we're just flying in like a little bit late. Again, we paid a lot more respect to Dolan yesterday, which we didn't do at Ewood Park, and we kept him quite under wraps. But then again, it's sometimes on the half turn, he bought a few tackles, bought a few fouls, and I think a couple of times Strout caught him late. I know Owl got booked on stopping a counter, but it did look harsh. But I think he did catch him on the follow through after he did get but he did look like he got the ball as well. So
yeah,
but in those itty gritty games, in those itty gritty moments, I do feel a bit for the ref. But at the same time, it did feel like the referee is kind of.
Don't give him any sympathy.
Yeah, well, in the day, gave us a penalty, and that referee at bloody Preston, Christ on a bike, we wouldn't have got anything from him. I mean, that
guy was shocking as well.
I've never seen a referee in performance like that. But we got a nice letter through from the PGMOL. What the frig they go by, saying sorry, like they do on South Park when when BP spilled the oil. Danny knows what It felt just like that, really. But again, I don't like to blame referees, and I think more of it yesterday was it might have been fatigue, 3 games in 6 days. I know Blackburn have had something similar, and to be fair to Farke, he has rotated well. He rotated the wingers. I think Steve mentioned it in the comments there. Mentioned it about Nonto, and I thought Nonto was actually I think he was our best attacking player in the first half at Derby, and I can see why he was like the first winger to come on. But again, I just thought it should have been for Dan James rather than that. But again, I know what Dan James consistency, works hard, but I do think you can't just have him on just for the sake. Really, you do need someone that's going to try and impact the game, and But I think Owen Beck just had him in his pocket, and again. If we're looking for future left backs, I know you said Firpo. I don't think they'll get a new contract, and I'll be very, very happy to get someone like Owen Beck in. So I thought he was brilliant again against us.
We've done that before, though, haven't we? We've signed players because they played well against us and ended up with Billy Painter.
Yeah, well, that would Billy Painter though scoring a hat trick against us at the county ground, and we lost 4-0. I do know what you're saying, but at the same time, though, again. We do sign players off the back of records, and it doesn't always work out. But at the same time, when you see him,
it usually doesn't for us. Yeah,
that's true.
But no, you're right. We do need players like that. We need to be looking at players like that. Because when we go up, if we go up, we need to do what we've said before, that we're going to look at the best of the Championship and look at good sort of foreigners or proven Premier League players that are in the price bracket. We need to be more
instead of looking. Yeah, I agree.
We need to think about it and be more methodical. For me,
instead of, sorry, mate.
No, come on.
Instead of looking up to the Premier League for like a youngster, look around us. Do you know what I mean? Look around, weaken us opposition if we can. That's what. Remember when Newcastle did it to Burnley when they bought Chris Wood? Do you know what I mean? That helped them massively. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just do stuff like that. The cream and the crop and all this kind of stuff. There's rumours about Buendia. It's very low percentage that'll come, but imagine if we can get Buendia firing.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? In this team, and that's what we lack. That's what we lack in this team. That Brendan Aronson, he does everything well. He presses well. It's just his final third. We joked about it last night, didn't we? That whenever he kicks a ball, it's like he's doing a field goal for the NFL. And he sees that, he sees the
go sports.
Yeah, but I think the lad needs a break. I think he needs a rest in that 10 because he looks knackered.
He does, yeah.
And I think I've I'll never. Well, I won't say I'll never forgive him, but I think I've come to realise that. Right, he's sort of paying his penance by playing in the Championship with us. Trying to earn back our respect and stuff. And I think he has for a lot of fans because he does work hard. It's not like he doesn't.
He's trying to put himself in the shop window so he can go somewhere else.
Well, if he does, let him go because it'll be to League Two or the MLS. Because there's no, I don't think there's any other team that'll buy him in the Prem. Maybe as a team. Yeah, I know, but I think content in it.
I think for a player like him, if he can get a half decent career at either this level or lower end at Premier League, and then go back to MLS when he's sort of 30 or something, and make a few million.
He might go to Europe. Probably go back to Europe. Go back to Europe, yeah. But I thought, sorry, I was say I thought Joseph did well when he came on. I think Piru, Bryn's best mate. I thought he was unlucky. He was a ghost. I thought he was unlucky because he wasn't getting the service a striker needs. But then when they're doubling up on you, what can you do? And you've got 10 players behind the ball.
He didn't press much, did he? Apart from chasing the keeper down now and again.
Yeah, but he can't though. He hasn't got the legs to do it, and it's just one of those things. Like you almost have to play a different way with Peru, where you just let either the defence play out, or he just runs around like a headless chicken for 5 minutes and he's knackered for half an hour. It just is what it is. And I know Joseph got a lot of pelters for his performance at Derby, but he seems to bring a level of intensity for not just himself, but the three guys behind him. And we just seem to play a lot more on the front foot. I know Derby are a lot worse team than Blackburn, but there's other performances at home and other games this season against difficult opposition who will try to do this low block, but where we've just forced them into errors or forced them to second thinking or go longer because of what people like that what front four do. But for whatever reason, James, Solomon, Aronson, they were all very passive in terms of their not playing out and pressing as well against the Blackburn play out. So again, that was a bit,
which does make you wonder if that's what they've been told to do.
Maybe. Again, that could be down to Farke's tactics, but his tactics. But then again, you think, well, instead of worrying about what the opposition do, if Leeds do what we did against like Derby, we play to our strengths. And this is Leeds United, where we've never had this level of pace in 20 odd years. I've never seen anything like it.
That's true.
Again, we've spent
the last 15 years watching the slowest midfielders and centre backs that you could ever find. Again, there's a lot of comments here about Harrison returning, and that's over my dead body because I saw some of those. I did start one. I was going to fire up later, but I don't see.
The only way Harrison comes back is to sell his flat. That's it. Do you know what I mean?
He'll still have the clause that he can go out and earn the same money if it's offered, so just go somewhere else.
The thing is, who's going to take him though? Like, the thing about Everton, they've taken him because they're absolutely bone skinned. Now they've got the Roma owners in. Dyche will probably be rubbing his hands to go, I can get someone slightly better who could maybe contribute 5 goals and 5 assists a season than Harrison's 2 or whatever he's on for Everton. It's sadly another one that were made by Bielsa, and again, he hit his ceiling being three good games a season and living off that. But yeah,
by the way, Everton have got 12 players out of contract this summer.
Wow.
So that's four of them alone.
A bit though, don't they?
Yeah.
Skint out
for the new stadium.
Water and, yeah.
We've got a new owner, haven't they? So I think the Freaking Group, I think they're called, they've already paid off the stadium, the outstanding payment on the stadium, and they'll just have to do. I imagine they'll have to get a refinancing deal on the money owed to the Americans that couldn't buy them because they've had jets. Sky or whatever the hell they've had done. So yeah, there's a lot of issues sorted out Everton, but sadly I don't think Jack Harrison will be there long term now they've actually got a bit of money.
No, I don't think he will either. I don't think he will.
He'll
never play for us again.
And even under the Championship under Bielsa, I mean, I don't get where the love's come from. Again, he's another one that cashed in really against the poorer sides. Apart from the hat trick at West Ham away in the Premier League, and in a lot of sides in the Championship. He flattered to deceive. Again, I could even argue Alioski were potentially more threatening from left back, and he were bonkers. You didn't know what that idiot were going to do.
Yeah, no, that's true. Michael in the comments, he says, guys, we're welcome back Verba, Aronson and Nonto after his hissy fit last season. So why can't we welcome back Harrison to help Leeds get out of this division? I mean, Aronson didn't really get welcome back, and neither did Verba. People have been very reluctant to get behind those two.
Well,
it's taken up until recently for people to start being all right.
Well, the difference with a lot of them is, though, if you take each player individually, like, for example, Nonto, we all know the story behind Nonto, that the factory has got this agent who had him and Zaniolo, who was their bread and butter. They had to move Zaniolo every 6 months to make money because they had, I think the rest of their roster was in Serie B or Serie C, which is League Two conference level.
They're not making much money off those players, are they?
Yeah. So they're trying to move Nonto
on. $1,000 a deal or something.
Exactly, yeah. And then you look at Verba and Aronson, both signed to come into Leeds, but Jack Harrison ultimately was a failure. It was basically bought to England to give some money to the MLS team at Man City, like they did with Aaron Moy with the Australian team.
Yeah.
He's brought in, he had a pretty torrid time at Middlesbrough on loan, and Bielsa made him. He's another one that Bielsa's, basically turned into a sort of a professional footballer and made him a Premier League player. And you could say that about a lot of the side that Bielsa, got his hands on.
You're very harsh, aren't you, Bryn?
I'm just objective and just say as it is. I don't particularly hate the guy in terms of, again, he could be, in soup kitchen every day doing his bit. I don't know the guy, but ultimately on a football,
bring him back and put him in catering.
No, it does. He makes a big pot.
I do miss the circular pies, I'll do so. I can't do behind this rectangle bollocks.
Arson's got a massive cauldron in his flat, and it's just massive. He makes his own Brill cream, for his gelled hair.
Oh yeah,
in his living room.
I just can imagine his mum doing that before kickoff. Just
I heard she's in a WhatsApp group with Lasogga's mum
and Matt Grimes'.
Lasogga. Get in the box,
do you remember his mum? Do you remember that picture of him?
Yeah, it was so German, wasn't it?
Yeah, some like German dungeon where he's like shirtless and she's like rubbing.
Yeah.
We're a bit odd.
That were a bit too odd for me.
I've got a feeling me and Lasogga would have got on, I mean, anyway, so...
That's what it's like where you live, though, isn't it?
Well, what us riches are like,
Well, that's it, man. That's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to think of good things to say about the game now at this point, but
it stopped raining at some point.
He just didn't make it 4 in a row. That's all the positivity I've got. Again, it were a lot of huff and puff from us, and again, I don't think their goalkeeper had a lot to do. And thankfully, we didn't properly do a Leeds and missed the penalty, so I was happy Strout did that. But we did a Leeds concede a minute and a half later when they've had a kick-off, dinked the ball in behind, and Owls conceded the corner. And then, we don't matter.
I had a feeling that we would do that because until the penalty happened, that game had 0-0 written all over it. It was going to be a draw. It was just the way it was destined to be. Once you got to half-time, you thought, this is going nowhere, this match.
Do you know what I hate, about modern
minutes,
football?
Give up.
Modern football is where part of the game is to deceive the referee, and it really pisses me off. Like Bryn was saying about when Dan James goes flying into the lad at the end, and he milks it for about a minute and a half or 30 seconds. You know what I mean? And slowly gets up, and then it goes out to the right side of the goal, but then they'll pick the ball up, do the socks, and then walk to the other end. Just shit out straight time. Yeah. Time wasting and just faking it as well. Then for me, the Tanaka penalty in the reverse fixture, it was naive by Tanaka, but
it was the same thing James did.
This is what I mean. It was deceiving for me. I'm not saying our players don't do that. Well, Leeds United, we don't do that. Every professional footballer does it, and that's just what really grits me about modern
James
football.
Got taken out the same way Tanaka hit that guy. It was the same tackle, and we got nothing. And it was just another example of a shit ref who were either out of his depth or he hates us, because it's got to be one or other, unless he's corrupt. But but it drove me up the wall that he recognised the time wasting to the degree that there were 10 minutes added. I mean, there were a lot of subs, so that were probably half of the time, but he recognised it enough to put some time on. Yet, he didn't bother to book the guy till, what, the 100th minute or something?
90 plus 9, yeah, booked him right. Yeah.
Why? What's the point? What is the point of booking
You should do it early doors.
At the point when it cannot stop it happening anymore. Why aren't you booking the guy early doors so he doesn't do that all game? Why?
The thing is,
do it.
It is a token yellow card to a goalkeeper because I've never seen a goalkeeper ever been, getting 2 yellow cards for time wasting. I could, if someone in the comments could happily prove me, There
was one last year.
I can't think of it. Again, I don't think I've ever seen it.
I don't know if his second yellow, if both of them were for time wasting, but I think he had one for time wasting and he'd done something else possibly. But yeah, he did give the card.
You had 10 minutes though, didn't you? You had a few injuries, like Bogle seemed to be down for quite a while, and we had, I think, Ampadu got a knock, Strout got a knock. Yeah, they were giving us some boot as well, but unfortunately, it's just one of those things. Again, I hate blaming the ref. It's easy excuse, and that does come down to the flow of the game. But we need to do more. We need to do more as well. It just simply is. We've got the squad, and we have probably got the best squad in the league.
I'm glad we could help Mark Barlow.
I'm sorry, Mark. I find this quite dramatic.
For the audio listeners, Mark's just saying he's pleased with the result, but listening to this has wound him up again. So I'd like to say,
apologies, Mark. Apologies.
We're all in it together. To be completely honest with you, I didn't want to talk about this or think about it for a few days, but got to come and do this, and I sort of dragged you two in to do it with me. And,
may I offer a bit of?
It's cathartic.
May I offer a bit of philosophical advice or a statement, if you will? Worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere. Me,
all right,
2024. I'm just trying to PMA, positive mental attitude, yeah. You know me.
Mate, absolutely. Mr. Positive and Mr. Negative above you, the yin and the yang.
Mate,
exactly.
How hasn't Leeds United broken you over the years? I've
gone through Wally, mate. I've gone through Wally.
I crush it into a million pieces and put it in deep into the depths of my soul, where no one can find it.
I've still got my 16th birthday imprinted in my head where Luton absolutely trounced us 5-1. And that was like 3-4 months after losing the playoff final against Watford. I know we got rid of Blackwell on the back of that, but then we opened the doors to a certain Dennis Wise, and shit really hit the fan then.
Yeah,
it did, but an entertaining season, the -15 one.
Leeds TSD is called, and you just black it out. If you train yourself like a Jedi, you can do it. If you just don't let it bother you. Do you know what I mean?
I'll remind you of this conversation when we get to Easter. Now Christmas is out of the way. We'll get to Easter and I'll see if you still have this same.
Oh no, you won't see me there, mate. I'll be under a rock somewhere.
By Easter, he'll either be over moon or he'll be deep in depths of depression and drinking heavily. Depends what we've done.
Yeah, my Baileys.
I just look to Christ, Gilly cannot say I told you so come fucking April.
None of us want that, Bryn. None of us want that.
I'll put together and get a Yorkshire White Red Bulls
fucking hell.
Christened, commissioned, getting one of them like Red Bull everything, Leeds United badge, change it to Yorkshire Whites, Red Bulls. He'd love it.
He'd absolutely love that. Yeah. I had something that I was going to say. It's completely gone out of my head. Who was your man of the match, Bryn? Could you pick one, or did you think no one were really worth picking out?
Yeah, no, our best player was Solomon. But again, if I'm being crude, I have to pick a Blackburn player. I'd say Owen Beck, but I'd go with Manor Solomon. Manor Solomon for Leeds, hands down. There was nobody who came remotely close. Again, I thought Aaron said a poor game, and everybody else did really.
Yeah, they actually gave. How do you say his name? Is it Bath?
Danny Bath from Wolves.
I'm sure that he used to have BAATH. I must have imagined that. It's like that thing you hear about when people think that the world is
double TH, yeah.
It's double TH.
Have you ever heard that theory? that we're all dead really, and like things used to be different and everything's slightly different now. Like Febreze used to have an R in it and it doesn't now, and yeah, all kinds of weird
about
like that.
The Mandela effect.
That's the one, yeah, that's it. We're all fucked up really, so that's what's happened. It did used to be spelled differently in the real world.
It should be
we need Carl on for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you say, Bryn, there's only really one person you could give man at match to for us, and it's definitely got to be Solomon. He worked harder than anyone else for me. He looked most dangerous guy on the team, and absolutely still baffled by the sub. But there you go.
Yeah, you live and die by the sword, don't you? And that's what
you do, mate. You do.
And you can't take it back. And it's done now. Look, we'll take the point. We're 3 points clear.
Yeah,
we've had a good Christmas period, which is probably the first time I've said that as a Leeds United fan.
Yeah.
But you know, we move on now to who have we got this
all
away. You know, they're not being they're down in the dumps, relegation fodder. Let's go up there. Absolutely taxidermium.
We have to.
Yeah,
it'd be nice. One of my favourite games, actually. One of my favourite games. Yeah. The season we went up when Tyler Roberts scored the brace.
Oh yeah.
And Pablo.
The one good game he had.
Pablo absolutely ran them ragged. The deflection from Ayling.
Oh yeah,
Ayling.
It was Ayling off centre half. I was in the whole end because one of my clients wanted to get some tickets, and
nice.
Yeah, that was a bit of a.
Was that the one that got the air out when they were playing guitar?
Yeah. Oh no, we're doing the chicken on it. Didn't he do the chicken after against?
Yeah, he did that because were it in the grey? No, white or grey. Anyway, Tyler Roberts, we're one of the best headers I've ever seen him do, or probably will do. But it was one of my favourite goals because I think it was the one where we had it by our corner flag and we just triangled round him, spread the play, and it just came in from Pablo, and he just, you know, as he's coming across, just headed it back across, and it was brilliant. One of my favourite games that was. Yeah, but yeah, let's just bash the tiger bothering gets, you know, and make a carpet out of them.
That's
or
it, yeah.
Or Del Boy dressing gown. Del Boy dressing gown.
Del Boy dressing gown. Fuck you, Del.
Definitely.
I'm just going to fire through the comments we had, and then we'll wrap up as we've waffled enough here. So, White Snake Bites over in New Zealand. He said, we were not at our best, but Blackburn had a plan. The worst part was scoring and letting them back in. Agree with that one.
Yeah.
Paul Brennan, festive period, 10 out of 12 points was a good haul for me, best in a long time. We are usually rubbish. Again, I agree with that one. Paul, again, he says, the strangest sub for me, taking our best man off the park, and my man and match man of Solomon, very strange. Talking a lot of sense tonight, is Paul. Steve Brown says, Blackburn stuck to the game plan that they didn't come to play just to defend. Absolutely. Joe Bedford, she said, and the referee was only watching what actually happened for 18 minutes. I don't know if that's like a piss take or if he actually did that, but I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, we need something doing about this shit. We talked about Harrison. Steve Brown said, not DJ's best game, lost possession 25 times and only one successful cross from 11. That's a bit of a shocker, isn't it?
Yeah, but
it isn't though, because he's got a trick, and he doesn't beat his man on the outside. He comes back on his left foot and then thinks he's maybe Ian Hart and try and swing it into the back post.
Yeah,
I don't think he either hits the guy on the edge of the D or he ends up overhitting it completely. Which
he goes to byline and puts it out for a goal kick. He doesn't hook around it,
Yeah,
like he overstretches himself trying to get past people sometimes. We've got another one here from Steve Lee, or Steely. He says, my description of Farker ball, passive at best, neglectful at worst. We are top of the league. No, I'm not happy. What I watched Frozen was not acceptable, guys. Like, you should have watched Leeds, not
Is he shouting? Are you shouting that, Steve?
He said he's not happy.
Again,
why? You're top of the league, 3 points clear. Why aren't you happy? Because
it was a shit game.
If you're going by performances, if you're going by performances, we are passive in some. Bristol, Millwall, both games against Blackburn immediately come to mind. But
yeah.
For every game like that, though, Derby away was anything but passive. And, the way we played against Sheffield United wasn't passive. We can't play on the front foot. If you want to call it the German football, whatever you want to call it, the Gegenpress.
Deutsche Bahn.
Gegenpressing.
Yeah. We do have ultimately they are championship players. They have got a limited ability to perform the tactic perfectly. I know they're playing against championship players, but the true elite haven't mastered that. I know, the Bayern Munich they've got the players on 100 grand a week doing it. There's levels.
Yeah.
We do play, and we do seem to play well more often than not. Again, for every bad performance, we have a good performance immediately after. So fingers crossed, put it straight right, put it to bed at Hull, and hopefully it's another point on board, and we're further clear of the DDAs. But
another three.
But the thing is as well, just on that, is the type of game the opposition are playing against us. Blackburn has done it twice and got us with a penalty and off a set piece and snatched at it. So how many of these teams have played 10 at the back on the counter?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like I say, if you've got 10 men in front of guarding your net, there's not a lot you can do, other than the long range shots, pass it around and get into the spaces, drag your men out of position. I'm not a tactique guy, but that's what I've been told in layman's terms, or cross it in for a target man, which we won't have because we've got Nonto going up for headers.
You mentioned
Bamford will just miss if you put him in.
You mentioned earlier, though, Danny, we used to have Luke Ayling, willing to take shots from distance. You've got Joe Rothwell, who's got an absolute cannon of a right foot.
Tanaka's got a decent shot on him.
He scored 5-6 goals last season, 2 absolute screamers against Huddersfield did, for Southampton did, Rothwell. He has the ability to shoot, but again, I thought more last year with the Glenn Kamara, where if you pass it sideways, he's doing it wrong, so he goes back. However, with Rothwell and Tanaka, they don't seem to want to take it on. And under more successful managers, Bielsa, for argument's sake, Ayling would have a go. He scored that great goal at Old Trafford before we shit our pants. Then he scored that thing against Huddersfield before the world collapsed. It's one of the best goals I've ever seen again. And then, like you said, the deflected one at Hull, where he's done his little chicken impression after. Yeah. But he's hit it from a good 30, 35 yards. But, it's having a go. And Rothwell and Tanaka, for example, again, apart from Gruev's free kick against Norwich in the playoffs, I don't think we've scored a goal from the deeper midfielder, apart from Ampadu in the cup. So we've technically not had a league goal, from any of those players. So it's kind of like maybe it is something, maybe shoot on sight a little bit more instead of trying to get the ball and walk it into the net.
Yeah. But if you've got 2 6'5" defenders in their team at centre back, marking our one striker in them, you know what I mean? You take it by game emphasis. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got their own sort of where you'd want to play, but end of the day, we're the top of the league, and I feel like I can't moan because we're in a better position we are now compared to last season, and I just see, but I don't want to get this halo effect about Farker. He's doing well, so I like him, so therefore I can't criticise him. I do criticise his subs all the time, every week. Like, why is he leaving it till the 80th minute to bring someone on? 10 minutes isn't long enough for someone to have an impact for me. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, moving on to the next one.
These kind of worms, mate.
Michael Pollardi says, Gilavogi, why isn't he used more against these physical teams? Bench v Millwall and Blackburn. Do you reckon?
I've often thought about this. Like, for example, at Preston away, when we brought an Ampadu and went to the back three, and we had James and Solomon as the wing backs. And obviously, Ampadu at that point was on one leg. You have got Gilavogi who can come on and play. We've signed him as a defensive midfielder and a utility centre back, and then you see the size of the guy. He's built like a brick shithouse, and he'd be someone. Again, I know we've got Verba now, who's playing left back, and I know he scored that cracking finish against Derby. No, Derby. It was Derby, wasn't it? Ellen Ward. Aronson to Verba, where I'd love to know odds on that, but
oh yeah.
But then again, he offered height, and then Gilavugi, he could, by going to a back three and maybe using like James and Solomon as wing backs who have both done it for the countries, and it's another tactic instead of. Again, that's something that Farke has to explore. And again, I know it might come down as the shit or bus mentality we have. When it paid off against Preston, because ultimately we got the equaliser late on. I know everyone were calling Bamford for his Cruyff flick or whatever he tried, and then Joseph tried it, but it paid off. So at the same time, though, we looked a lot more threatening when changing formation, and I did think at Blackburn. Considering Blackburn away this time, how poor Firpo and Bogle were in that game, why would it potentially look at putting another body in the centre and trying something a bit different? But again, that's down to Farke. I know he's got a system of playing, but sometimes I do think when you are looking for ways, a little tweak in formation, change of personality could work, and Gilavugi coming on in a 3 or even playing in midfield could work.
Even just a little bit of individualism as well, like from a 10, or like instead of I won't reset, recycle it. I'll just turn and pass it through.
It's fine. All the time. You prick. Sorry, Dan.
Rodon does it all the time. He looks to pass it out to the touchline, but then he sees a gap and he runs into it, and then does that pass where it skims along the floor a million miles an hour because he knows he can break that line, and it sometimes does offer us that opportunity to go on and score or get past that, like mid block or whatever. That's all it takes.
Absolutely. We've got another comment, the last one here from Mark Barlow again. He said, refs are poor, not sure how they improve. They need to be trained better, surely. Just so we don't need to rely on them for the odd result as they could cost us. We need more ex-players as refs, I think. But
they'll never do it.
They probably don't want or need to do the job.
Why would you? I play football every week at Saturday League, right? But I'd never be a ref because the amount of abuse you get.
Fuck that.
It's worse. Can you imagine 30,000 people calling you a CUNT?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
People actually punch you at amateur level, though. You're all right when you're at pro level.
Yeah.
You think your legal League 2 players though that have played the game, have they got enough to retire on? Maybe if the FA or the governing bodies incentivize this, because obviously these guys will come out fresh playing, they'll know this, they'll know the environment they've just come out of, and then offer them a system. But again, I do see what Mark says. The refs are poor. I don't, but he's spot on. We can't rely on referees. We can't rely. It has to be down to us. And then if we get one contentious decision where we don't get a penalty, it's. In the Premier League, it would be more costly because that could be the clutch moment. But when we've got the best squad, I think it's the best squad we've had in the championships, and I think it's better than Bielsa's squad anyway. Though he's got, and I think ultimately you can't rely on the dickhead in black to give a decision. You've got the 11 on the pitch, 11 players on the pitch, the coach and the subs have got to get the result for you.
Yeah, you've got to overcome it and do it yourself, haven't you?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if he misses a penalty, it's human error, isn't it?
Well, that's it. Yeah.
It's human error. I suppose that's the beauty of football, because you can't expect a 100 million striker to score every goal in the world, every shot. Do you know what I mean? Haaland doesn't score every shot. We've seen that, but I'll shut up.
Not anymore, anyway. Yeah. All right. Well, before we wrap up, lads, you sent me this earlier, Danny. A little picture of Brendan Aronson getting ready to take Patrick Bamford to the train station.
To Wrexham.
Wish him luck with his driving test or whatever he's doing. I think he has to get a UK license now or something. Been here over a certain amount of time. Can't use his US one anymore. So that'll be interesting for him. Let's hope he's better at driving than he is at volleying.
I just hope he's on right side at road.
It just proves he can pass.
Well, he hasn't yet, has he?
He hasn't done it yet, I'm going to say.
I don't think he has yet, anyway. And on that note, we'll wrap this meandering, waffling outrage of a podcast up. Cheers for joining me, lads. And
cheers, Happy New Year to everybody in the comments. Cheers.
Yeah,
absolutely. Make sure you follow Danny and Not Another Leeds podcast if you don't already, if you want to see some real craziness. And if you fancy an argument, go find Bryn on Twitter. But yeah, we'll call it a night, lads. And thanks very much. Hope everyone's had a good time. And come see us again next time. Adios.
See you later.